Welcome to the Sage 50cloud Pastel Accounting how-to video. In this video, we will demonstrate certain tips and tricks to help you minimize and on occasion resolve certain pervasive errors, like error code 20, status 116, status 161, and status 94. Please note that this video will not contain full solutions, but these tips should help you either prevent these issues from happening, or if these settings are checked, may help you to resolve the error. Your Sage Pastel accounting program and your Pervasive is dependent on certain Windows features, be these Windows updates, .NET framework, your user account control, or your firewall settings. If you try to open your Sage Pastel accounting and it will not open, or you receive the message that Windows is currently configuring your software and this just loops, this could indicate that there are certain Windows updates that need to be run. To check your Windows updates, select your magnifying glass or search option and type in Windows Update Settings. Select this option and the Windows Update Settings screen will display. Select the option to check for updates if you do not see any updates, or if updates are listed, please select to download and install these updates. Once you have downloaded and installed the updates, you will need to restart your machine. Likewise, you also need to ensure that your .NET framework is fully installed and selected. .NET framework became part of Windows when they launched 8.1. In order to ensure that your .NET framework is fully installed, click on the search option and type in Turn Windows Features On or Off. By default, your .NET Framework 2.0 and below is not selected. You will need to expand the .NET Framework on all options 3.5 and below or 4.7 and above, and make sure that all of the options are ticked. Please note that a square means that there is an option that is not selected. You need to ensure that there is actually a tick in all of the blocks. Once you have ensured this, click on OK and your .NET Framework will be installed. Once your .NET Framework is installed, check if you are still experiencing the errors. You will also need to ensure that your user account control is turned off. The user account control is a setting in Windows which allows you to select what your Windows is allowed to do. However, the problem with this is that background processes are automatically denied. Things like running Sage Intelligence reports or applying licenses may not be done because they are background processes. In this way, you would navigate to your control panel. In your control panel, you would either view by large icons or category, and you would select your user account, and again user accounts, until you get to change user account control settings. Select this option and ensure that the scroller is at Never Notify. On occasion, when you install certain Windows updates, this may force the UAC back on. So if you are getting errors, always ensure that this option is set to Never Notify and select OK. You can also add your Pervasive database to your firewall as well as your ports. In order to do this, you would go to your Windows firewall. You can change your category view to either category or large icons and then select the Windows Defender firewall. This will open up your firewall and you will select the Advanced Settings option. In the Advanced Settings option, you can apply inbound rules and outbound rules. You will need to apply the database and the ports to both. When you select to apply a database, this would be a program, and you can do this by selecting New Rule. You would then select Program and Next, and then you would browse to the path. Depending on which Pervasive you have installed depends on the path you will follow. Pervasive is generally a 32-bit application. If you are running Windows 9 or 10, you will look in your local C drive, Program Files x86, and look for something called Pervasive Software. If you are running version 13, you will look for Axion. You will select the option and the very next folder will be called PSQL. Select this option and bin, and then you will browse to the bottom of the screen where you will find your W3 DBS Manager, which is your database manager. It looks like a little tower with a green dot. Click on Open and click on Next. You will then select to allow the connection and select Next. Ensure that you select which profiles can have access through the firewall. If you are unsure which profile should be selected, please speak to your IT and select Next, and then give this rule a name. You will follow these steps for inbound and outbound rules in order to apply the ports, these namely being 1583 and 3351. You would follow the same steps, except when you go to new rule, you will select port, next specific ports, and you will enter the ports with a comma, 1583, 3351. Next, allow the connection, next, select your profiles, next, provide your rule with a name. Once you have added your database and your ports to the firewall, this should allow your Pervasive to communicate better with not only the server but all the workstations. Please note you need to do this on every machine that you have Pastel installed on. Should you be receiving an error code 20, this means that either your software is not running or your software is not licensed, namely your Pervasive software. In order to check whether your software is running, this would depend on whether you installed your Pervasive as an application or as a service. If you are running anything below Pervasive 10, your software will be installed as an application, and you can then search for Turn Engine on or off, or navigate through your Start menu to your Pervasive folder and check if you have the option to turn engines on or off. If you have Pervasive 10 or 13 installed, you may have installed this as either an application or a service. If you navigate to your Pervasive folder through your Start menu and you do not see the option to turn engines on or off, this would indicate that you installed your Pervasive as a service. In order to check if the service is running, you would navigate to your control panel. Once you have opened your control panel, ensure that your view bar is set to large or small icons and select Administrative Tools. From Administrative Tools, select Services. If you are running Pervasive 10, look for the service named Pervasive Engine, either Pervasive Workgroup Engine or Pervasive Server Engine. If you installed version 13, look for Actian PSQL Workgroup or Server Engine, and then check the status. If this says running and automatic, you can either right-click and choose to restart the service, or you can select the service, click on the stop option, and once stopped, select the start option. Either should work. If after restarting or stopping and starting the service, you still receive an error code 20, you will need to check your licensing. In order to do this, select the Start menu and type in License. Select the PSQL License Administrator and check that you have at least one permanent license applied. Should this window be blank, this would mean that either your license has expired or no license has been applied. This may indicate that the user account control was actually turned on when you were registering your software. If this is the case, please uninstall your Pervasive and reinstall your Pervasive. Should you need to uninstall and reinstall your Pervasive, you can find your Pervasive installation files by going to your internet browser and typing in pastelupdate.sagesouthafrica.co.za. Select the Pervasive PSQL tab and then select the Pervasive that you are licensed to use. Download the installation and ensure that you extract the installation before running it. Please do not run an installation from a zipped folder. Once you have reinstalled your software, you should be able to open your Pastel. If you are receiving a status 161, this may indicate that either you have the wrong Pervasive installed or that your Pervasive is not licensed, among a few other things. In order to ensure that you have the correct Pervasive installed, Open your Sage Pastel accounting on a machine where you are not receiving the error. A 161 will normally come up telling you that your Pervasive is not licensed or you have exceeded your user count. Once your Pastel is opened on a machine that is able to open your Pastel without the error, click on Help and About. This will tell you the version of Pervasive you are licensed to use. You will then need to check on every machine that the version you are licensed to use is the version that you are running. In order to do this on every machine, you will navigate to the Control Panel. In the Control Panel, you will select your program and features, and you will check that the installed version matches the version you are licensed to use. If the version is not the same as the version you are licensed to use, you will need to uninstall this version and install the version you are licensed to use. If you have the correct version installed, you will need to check your license administrator. Select the search option and type in License Administrator and select the PSQL License Administrator. Check on the server and ensure that you can see the same licenses on the server as you see on the workstation. If you have additional licenses on the workstation, please deauthorize this license. Please also check with regards to your licenses the vendor number. Please do not deauthorize licenses that have different vendor numbers. This is because one is for your Pastel and one is for your point of sale. Once you are certain that your licenses are correct, you can then try to reopen your Pastel. Should you still receive the error, please contact support. If you are receiving a status 116, this could indicate that the communication between the server and the workstation has interference. You can run something called the Pervasive System Analyzer to ensure that the communication between the server and the workstation is working as it should. Click on Search and type in Pervasive System Analyzer. Once you open the Pervasive System Analyzer, select the option to test the active installation and to test the network communication. Select Next and enter either the server name or the server IP address and select Next. Either no errors will be returned or an error may be returned. Please do this on the server with the workstation's IP as the target machine, as well as on the workstation where you are receiving the error with the server's IP or name as the target machine. Should you receive a WinSock error, this could indicate that your firewall is blocking certain of the features. Please ensure that you have set up your firewall correctly. Please also ensure that your antivirus has been set up correctly. If you are unsure how to do this, please speak to your IT engineers. If you do not receive any errors, this could mean that you need to open up your Pervasive to communicate easier. You can do this by opening up a gateway. Type in Gateway Locator on the search option and click on Change. Enter the server computer name and click on OK. Once you have assigned the gateway, click on the option Permanent Assignment. In this instance, the machine that I'm trying to assign is the server itself and will not work, but on all the workstations, please assign a gateway to the server and see if this resolves the error. If you are receiving a status 94 or Pervasive error 94, again this indicates a miscommunication between Pervasive on the server and the workstation. Uninstalling and reinstalling the Pervasive you are licensed to use on first the server and then the workstation normally resolves the issue. However, if that does not work, please search on the KB for Pervasive error 94 and follow the steps in the document. Please note that you need to do all of the steps on the server first and then do the steps on the workstation. Please note that we will be uploading full solutions to these errors in the coming months and weeks. Thank you.